Right, here we go. So I'm very pleased to have a special guest on today, and it's Gatsby and Gatsby's dad,
Yep.
Jeff. Hi, Jeff.
Hello, good evening. I'll show you Gatsby in action at this very moment. I'll just turn the phone camera around.
Oh, cool.
And there he is. Because I've put the heating on for one of the first times this year. And as soon as I do that, he hears the rattle of the boiler and he's away. He knows what's going on, and he's up in his favourite place during the winter, in his radiator bed.
So it's a radiator bed. I've never even heard of a radiator bed.
Yeah, that's, if I go back a bit, you can probably see it a little better. So it just hangs on the radiator. I could do with one.
Yes, that sounds like
it's just it's a hammock, really.
Yeah,
it's a cat hammock, and it hangs on the radiator under the windowsill, and he's as happy as Larry.
that's brilliant. Now, he's obviously...
Is that Larry the cat?
Yeah, Larry the Downing Street cat. Yeah, one of his heroes.
Cool. So Gatsby's been obviously a successful model. He's been doing some modeling. So tell me a little bit about how how you met one another. Let's put it that way.
How did Gatsby and I meet one another? Well, my ex and I, who I'm still friends with, so it's all cool. We had a lovely ginger cat called Homer, and he was a smasher. And he passed away in 2015, and then within a day or two, started looking online, looking at the cat rescue places. And I remember her saying to me after about 2 days, "Have you started looking yet?" And I said, "Oh yes." And I found one, and we're in Cheltenham, and this the Cats Protection League was in Stroud, and he looked like a little smasher. And there was a photos and a video as well on the webpage, and so I made an appointment. And a couple of days later, we went down to see him in Stroud, and the checks were done and what have you. This was August 2015. And so we adopted him from there. He was apparently found as a stray, sort of wandering around. Beautiful cat, obviously, as you know. So they tried to find an owner, never did. So he was in foster home, if you like. And with the Cats Protection League, you may or may not know, it's all volunteers. So if you volunteer to house strays or ones that need looking after a bit before they're adopted, you have a big sort of patio type cage thing built in your garden that they do for you, and then the cats come and go, and you go and look at them. Now, this couple who had Gatsby, they had actually 5 cats of their own. They lived in a house called Cat Cottage. There's a funny story along with this as well. Sure, maybe get into. Anyway, and they wanted to keep Gatsby because he was a smasher, obviously, and but he didn't get on with their other cats, and that's one thing I learned about him. He's not a fan of other cats. He doesn't mind dogs, but when he's an indoor cat now, but when he was an outdoor cat, and there's a story there, he never really got on with other cats at all. He's a single cat in the household chap, I think. So they really couldn't keep him. And the guy, I met the couple, and the guy sort of shed a tear. He said, just so gutted to see him go. And I said, "Don't worry, I'd be in the same position, be exactly the same. Don't worry." I said, funny enough, previous cat, Homer, big ginger cat, had his own Facebook page. I said, once he's settled in, I said, I'll do Gatsby a Facebook page, and we'll keep in touch. And you can, because they said, could we come and see him from time to time, or, we'll keep us up to date with how he is. And I said, yeah, because we can do that through Facebook. And so that's what we did, and made friends with that couple who, funnily enough, I didn't know it at the time, but through making that social media connection, they were huge fans of Big Big Train. Didn't know that. Didn't know that. Yeah, well, yeah. So had we not done that, we would have never have known. Of course, I'd posted about music and bands and so forth, and they were actually in the video for Folklore, which they filmed down near Bath, and they got a load of passengers to kind of join in the video.
Yeah.
And the Gatsby, I still call her Gatsby's foster mum. She can be seen quite clearly in the video. She's got a big yellow coat on, yellow anorak coat. And so they've since moved away from Stroud up to Manchester, but we sort of stayed in touch. And one point I got some tickets for a Big Big Train concert for them in Birmingham because they were away and couldn't get them when they went on sale and all that kind of thing. So we kind of stay in touch. And also around sort of that story, because it was the Stroud's Cat Protection League, she asked me, "Oh, we've got a newsletter that we put out quarterly," and she'd seen sort of Gatsby's posts on social media and his little funny stories that he writes. I said, "Oh, would you do a column for us in the magazine every quarter?" And I've been doing that ever since. So he has his own little column. I try and dream up a story.
You mentioned Homer.
Mm.
Did you do the similar thing with Homer with his Facebook page?
Yeah, he had a profile, like a person's profile. And it's a funny story, actually, again, that, well, not funny. But so he had a page, like Gatsby's got a page. Well, it wasn't a page, it's a profile. A page is a different thing, as you know. And pages, I've managed pages for people, and they're not very easy things to do. So Homer had a profile, but just after he died, Facebook said, "Oh, you're not a real person," and got all sniffy about his page profile, and said, "Oh, but we'll turn it into a page for you." And I went, "Okay, at least it saved everything." So he's still got a page. There is a page for Homer Cooper, but it's old. It's not updated now. But not quite as much. Didn't do daily posts or anything like that, but just the occasional one if Homer did something daft. He's a very different sort of cat to Gatsby. And it's funny how they sort of adopt you, you know. Homer was very much my ex's baby, you know. But Gatsby was kind of latched onto me and became mine, sort of thing, you know. They choose how it all works. And also, Homer would be the sort of cat you didn't worry about. He'd be out all day, you wouldn't worry about him. You'd see him at 8 o'clock in the evening, he'd bimble in for his tea, and you never worried about him. Gatsby, complete opposite, always a worry, always up to scrapes, always injuring himself, causing trouble, chasing rats in people's gardens, falling out of trees, getting injured. So he was always a worry. And so gradually over the years, although he was a full-time outdoor cat to begin with, due to one injury or another, the vet said, "Oh, just keep him in overnight while he's sorting himself out. Oh, just you know, keep him in for a few weeks until he recovers from this little incident or that incident." But over time, he gradually just became a cat that only went out when we were around, or let him out a couple of times a day. And you could say you watch by him actually when he did that. He'd be out for 45 minutes and he'd come back. But now he's a full-time indoor cat, and gradually that transition over the years, he's actually much more chilled. Because he's a Bengal type. He's 80% Bengal. I always say he's not a full Bengal. 80%. Yeah. That's a made-up figure, but that's what I go with. And he's got a lot of the traits. He's got all the markings. But when we first had him in my old house, which was sort of a bit on a hill, and it had 10 steps leading up to the front door, so the entrance was on a mezzanine level. So he used to sit at the front door guarding, looking down the hill, watching out for cats coming down the road. And he'd be out there in the evening, every evening, just guarding, stood in front of the front door. And it's quite funny because you sort of go downstairs from upstairs and just open the door on your way up and you go, "Are you out there? Yeah. Do you want to come in?" Yeah, he'd look at you, he'd come in, he'd go down the stairs, through the lounge, through the kitchen, through the lobby, back round the conservatory, jump over the gate, boom, plonk, back in front of the front door again. So you might do that 3 or 4 times of an evening. And eventually it would come about 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night. You go, okay, I've done enough guarding now. But as he that ceased, that practice ceased, if you like, with him going out less, he just became more and more chilled. He didn't have to do that guarding. And I think it's a sort of perhaps a Bengal trait.
Yeah, it might well be, because I had a Bengal, not a full Bengal.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And certainly she went through a period of time where she did a lot of guarding, being out in the garden, chasing other cats away and having straps and everything. And then got to a point, didn't seem to bother, which is very odd.
I think they do sort of work out. They do kind of work out their own almost timings and territory, apparently.
Yeah.
So if there are neighbouring cats around, they kind of go, oh, okay, I walk around here at this time, and the other cat will avoid, and they sort of figure it out. Apparently, there was a lovely little cat that he did terrorise once.
Yeah, and I do think that's something that they do. As a sort of a routine.
He even went into this little cat's house, because the estate we used to live on, there were various different shapes and sizes of houses, and he went into this house, which was the same layout and size and design as ours, and they had a cat flap, and so I did, and he'd leave his, he doesn't wear collars, obviously he doesn't wear collars now because he doesn't go out, but he did wear a collar to start with, but he was always losing them or leaving them behind somewhere, so with his number on. And so we had a phone call one day, we got your cat's collar in our kitchen, and oh, by the way, he's been terrorising our little Indy. I'm so sorry. Anyway, that seemed to only happen maybe once or twice. So I think it does sort of calm down a bit. I did watch him chasing a rat down the road on one occasion, and another neighbour said he was he was doing something with a rat in their front garden on one occasion.
Right. So the Facebook page, right? Because the photographs and everything of Gatsby are amazing. I think they're really beautiful pictures.
Thank you. Yeah. He is very photogenic.
He is,
and he does seem to like. He seems to know it as well. Everybody said, "Oh, what a beautiful cat!" And I said, "Yeah, he knows it as well."
Yeah.
He some cats and dogs, if you try and put a phone or a camera in their face, they kind of don't like it. But he seems to like, oh, okay, Dad, I know what you're doing. Yeah. He doesn't seem to mind at all, really. And even he will, you kind of get a sense he's playing up to it. I mean, I've got a small 2-bedroom cottage, so we haven't got a lot of different opportunities to do different wacky things, but he's always doing something, climbing on a bit of furniture or sitting in his windowsills, either back or front, depends when the sun is out. So he's always doing something. So it's a pleasure. I sort of don't. My day is not complete unless I used to do just one a day, but now I kind of I do whatever. Maybe one or two.
Yes, a lot of comments as well. I think they're great.
Yeah, it's just a bit of fun, really. Everybody needs a hobby, and it's sort of he's got a little story. Everybody knows he loves his biscuits, and so it's almost generating a little story around what he does, and it's just spread a little joy and spread a smile, for his fans. I've got a dog friend on Twitter who there's a story there as well. He only lives up the road, and he's got 69,000 followers on Twitter, and the guy who owns him, there's a big story there around why he's on Twitter and how he got so many. Well, he doesn't really know how he got so many, but he just does it for the love, and he obviously shares this dog going up mountains. He does all sorts of adventures, goes up mountains, goes for long walks, goes to the seaside, and he gets up early in the morning of the weekend and goes somewhere off with him, and he's a little character, and it's just a beautiful, lovely thing that just sort of makes people smile or brings a little joy in the world, and we all need a bit of that. So I'm just following that sort of line, really.
So when did when did it sort of start to become obvious that he was getting a bit of a following?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got quite a few friends around the world through various bands that I follow, and so he's up there. I suppose not long after I got him ready, just sort of gradually, but it's not a huge amount in terms of, it's a private Facebook page. He's got a public Instagram with get how many now? A few hundred followers anyway. Not like he's not like an influencer or thousands of followers like some of these animals. And I get these daily sort of posts from people selling things like, oh, become an influencer, do this, do that, and I just ignore them all. I'm not doing it for just doing it for basic fun, really. So it just sort of gradually, slowly built a little bit, not to a great scale, but through friends. It's amazing how, friends and connections. Talk about the folks that we got him from who were big Train fans. Candia, who I met 2019, I think, through a mutual friend, and she sort of was following him, and then they did their Pets edition, so he got into 4 editions of that. I think it's 4 or 5. He's been in, and I always said to her, oh, he was in last year. Oh, it doesn't matter, it wouldn't be the same without Gatsby. Just
right, that's really cool. So that I didn't catch what it was. Cotswold Life, is it?
It's Cotswold Life magazine, yeah. So Candy is, as well as being the lead singer of Incubus Succubus, is she was deputy editor at the time, but she's now the editor, and just through a mutual friend, really, who she's got dogs herself, and another friend in that little circle did the covers for the Pets issue for the last few years. So when she was doing the covers, and I thought, I'll put a picture of Gatsby in for the Pets edition, and so he's been in for 4 or 5 years now.
Great, a life in modelling. I'm quite impressed by, particularly as he started his life off in a home.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what his story was. Just wild. Yeah, just running. I don't know what his story was or how he got lost. But he was beautifully house trained from day one. So good. He's never done anything. He's very, very rarely poorly, although he's had a couple of serious issues, but from a day-to-day, he doesn't do the verbal thing, he doesn't scratch the furniture too much, like the other Ginger Tom did. He's very good with the furniture. He's never done any accidents in the house. He's just incredibly my carpets are perfect.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm impressed. He's a model.
Yeah, very, very lucky.
Yeah, that's incredible. So, does he have a routine? I mean, like for modelling.
Does he have a what? Sorry?
Does he have a routine for his modelling? Or generally life?
We try. I quite often do a late night post, usually when he's tucked up in bed with me, because he's in the winter. He certainly used to do this, but this year he's done it even through the summer when the warmer weather. He's in bed with me every night. He's a cat that feels the cold, and I think Bengals. I've heard that Bengal types do. He definitely feels the cold, and he will shout at me to go to bed at about 8 o'clock at night. And he loves the knee tent, so you get into bed and you put your knees up, and under he goes. And after a while, your knees start aching. You go, I've really got to, lie on my side for a bit now and roll over. So we have a routine in that respect, in that I'll go, that's enough knee tent now. I'll roll over, and then he'll just move into the warm space where my back was and lie behind me. So he likes doing that. The photographs, I kind of do a late night one occasionally. Night everybody, night world, which I've nicked that catchphrase from my dog friend on Twitter. So we do a late night one sometimes, especially if I've got in late from a gig, or something earlyish in the morning. Depends on what I'm doing, but most of them are in the moment. Some I've got stored away for posting, and then I'll post memories as well. Ones, cool ones that sort of reappear as a Facebook memory or something like that. So today we've done We had something new this morning. I just went downstairs to the downstairs loo, having just cleaned his litter tray out, and he was sat on the actual proper human toilet, looking at me, peering around the corner. So it was Happy Toilet Tuesday today.
Right. Well, funny, it's something about this, about cats on toilets. The Bengal that I had used to use the toilet.
I've seen, footage of that.
Yeah, yeah. And it was sort of like, obviously, must have watched
Mm.
the process,
Yeah.
out of the loo.
And that saves the job. It saves the litter tray, doesn't it? Because you can just flush that away. Yeah, that's yeah. So
They're very clever.
I was quite pleased with my house when I got it that it's got a downstairs loo, a little downstairs loo off the kitchen. So that's where his litter tray goes.
So how long have you been at the house?
Since 2020, March 2020. I moved in pretty much the day before lockdown. I had a very stressful moving in purchasing period because it was right before lockdown. So the full lockdown was Monday the 23rd, and I moved in on the Friday, and it was touch and go in that build up, obviously. And so we made it. He was in the cattery because I was in between houses, so I was sort of dreading not completing that and getting him out. Otherwise, he might have been sat in there forever. So managed to get him. We extricated him from the cattery the middle of that week once I got a bit settled, and then he absolutely loved it. That was quite funny actually, because he'd been used to going to this wonderful cattery just up the road if ever I went on holiday or was away. So he was in there for about a week and a bit while I was in between houses, having sold one and waiting for one to complete. And I picked him up as normal, drove him home. Of course, he thought he was going back to his old house, even though the furniture had sort of moved around a bit, and I was getting rid of stuff, and he was quite happy with that because it was a new thing to sit on as I was moving stuff around. So anyway, he thought he was going back to his old house. So I brought him in to here, and his tail went all bushy, and he did lots of shouting, and he walked around every corner of the house, all exploring everything to, like, what the hell is this? And of course, now he loves it. So
they're very vocal, Bengals, aren't they?
Oh, he is. Yeah, he is. And more so recently, in the last couple of years, if he wants something or wants my attention about something, he will really shout as if he's injured or something, or fallen off something. And it's like, the first time he started doing it, I was thinking, oh God, what's he done? But no, yeah, he's quite shouty. Quite often I'll be upstairs perhaps, and he'll be downstairs, and I just hear this shouting. And his food falls full. He's got everything he wants. He's just been to the loo, and he just wants to tell me he's been to the loo.
What with this Bengal that we had, Lily, she used to impersonate people.
Oh.
So she would sort of say, she was saying hello when you saw her in the morning.
Yeah.
She would meow like she said hello.
Yes. Yeah.
In her early days, she spent a lot of time with an older Italian lady who couldn't speak very good English, and she actually had the same sort of dynamics of the language.
Italian accent. A cat with an Italian accent.
Very,
wow.
very.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think they're incredibly clever.
Oh, yeah, he's smart. He's very smart. I think
very smart.
Yeah, and very intuitive.
Mm.
They know when you're down or you need a cuddle yourself, or he's very, very supportive. And he always, he will sleep at times during the day, but once he's done his sleeping, he wants to be with me. He will. If I'm downstairs, he'll come, and usually that's when he'll start climbing on the mantelpiece or just demanding attention or wanting some toys to play with. So there are times when he's He said, right, it's my time now, Dad. Play with me. Put your records down. Stop doing this. Stop reading a book. Get off your phone.
So I was just thinking about the way that the internet evolved, because cats have got a lot to do with this, I think. Because
people do say that's what the internet's for, really. It's for cats and
and
other silly things.
Pornography.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems to be like one of the drivers of internet use.
The amount of cat profiles that there are, and dog profiles or other animals. A friend of mine's got an Instagram page for her rabbit. It's a beautiful rabbit. It's one of those really nice proper rabbit, beautiful rabbit. But yeah, and some of the cat ones, and Bengal cat ones in particular, some of them are absolutely gorgeous, and some of them are superstars. And do amazing things. There was a guy, the cat's actually passed away now. The cat was called something like Mango Brown, and you could see he had a beautiful relationship with his cat, and he was a full Bengal, and he was, he'd get up to all sorts of things, and people take them out on their bikes, and the cats are sitting on their shoulder, and there's cats playing keyboards and musical instruments, and so there's quite a lot of those. He doesn't. He just sits on windowsills and sits on the bed and does his thing with biscuits. And there he is, fast asleep with his paw over his face.
Yeah. That's
it. That's a classic, isn't it?
It is. Right.
Classic pose. Yeah. So so he doesn't climb up trees. People take him out on leads and they're climbing up trees and all sorts of things. I did think about that when he sort of became an indoor cat full time, when I sort of moved here, taking him out on lead, but he wasn't a great fan of it. And where I live is down a tiny little lane, so there's no traffic or anything, but you do get the odd delivery van zooming down. But it's a tiny little dead end lane. And of course, particularly during COVID, when I first moved in, everybody was walking up and down, and they still do now.
Just
walking up and down.
Time.
Yeah, walking up and down, and of course, all the dog walkers come past, and it's a little path at the end of my lane. So I thought, if I'm walking a cat out there, that's not going to necessarily go well. So he wasn't that keen, and if he really wanted to go out, I'm sure he'd tell me, because he tells me all sorts of things to do.
What do you think Gatsby's take of human behaviour during lockdown would have been? Because from a human perspective, it was a bit weird, but suddenly all these people were buying bicycles.
I used to drive home from work during that time and see people on my the main stretch of road by me, and it would just be full of walkers and bikers, and you'd never seen anything before like that, or since, really. He used to sit, and he still does. He sits in the windowsill and watches the world go by, such as it is, out of my window. He's moving now. He's moving. There we go. You're waking up. There you go. Oh dear. He would sit on the windowsill, and he'll watch the dog walkers, or there's a couple of cats nearby that sometimes roam around. He will sit on the windowsill. I remember one occasion, I could hear a little child's voice, and he was, he's not there today, Mum. I can't see him today. So I think they'd sort of, folks would walk past and look up, and there he was. So they'd obviously seen him. So he watches the world go by, such as it is. So, I get the odd horse. There's stables just around the corner. I get the odd horse come by, or something interesting happening, and he'll sit in the window and watch the world go by. In the mornings, he goes to the back room, because the sun's in the back. And you can, again, set your watch by it, obviously, because about 2:30 will come through to the front bedroom, and that's where the sun's starting to come round. So he's got his... And he is very, very smart. He would know times. So my shift pattern's a bit weird. And I remember my ex saying to me, he about 10 o'clock in the evening, if I was working an evening shift, which would finish about 10, she said about 10 o'clock he would get quite sort of, not agitated, but he'd wake up and start roaming around and looking out the window. He knew my shift patterns, which, and they were sort of odd times. So he knew when I was due to come home.
I've experienced that with cats and dogs, actually.
Yeah.
Because they know that you're on your way, or somebody's coming home, which is I think always fascinating.
Yeah. He's definitely got a routine. And again, suddenly it'll change a bit. He used to, in the day, if he was sleeping, he'd sleep on the pillow in the spare room. But he hasn't done that. He's always slept on my bed or in with me. Sometimes at night, I'd wake up and he wasn't there because he was sleeping in the spare room. Since I got my girlfriend Jo a year ago, every single night he's in bed with me. It's almost like he's claiming me. So hang on, I'm not sleeping in the spare room now. I've got to sleep. When it's convenient, I should be sleeping with you, Dad, because don't forget, I'm the boss.
Yeah, exactly. They're not silly.
Yeah.
Okay, so I haven't really seen. Maybe it could be a good thing just to put the camera to Gatsby, because we haven't seen much of him. So I know he's there.
He's actually turned around a bit now, so he's not, his face isn't buried. So can you see that? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe down. Oh, he's very.
Would you like to say a few words, Gatsby? No. Okay.
I think he's going back to sleep. That's okay. But I must say,
he did do a nice yawn just now, but I'm afraid you missed that. But
yeah. No, that's a lovely bed as well, I must say.
Yeah, very pleased with that. So he's got a bed and he has a perch next to it. There's his perch, and just above the bed is one of his famous windowsills. That's where he sits.
What a view! What a view!
Yeah. So he'll watch what's going on. Something happens, he's usually up in the window. In fact, on Thursday and Friday, we're having this little lane that it's all being closed because the road's being resurfaced. So I've got to move my car away from off my drive if I want to get out, and I'm sure he'll be watching that.
Yeah. Well, that's brilliant, Jeff. That was wonderful. And what will be great? I need sort of links to the Gatsby's Facebook page, because I'm sure some people would love to see your.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can. I can send it you, or you can just copy it from his page because you're on there.
Yeah, and your very humorous comments that go with it.
Have you got his Instagram page as well?
No, I haven't got his.
Okay, I'll send you. I'll send you both of the links. Yeah. Occasionally we'll put a post on Twitter. I don't post as much on Twitter as much as my friend with the dog. He's called Bertie Lakeland, by the way.
Oh, Bird, right, yes.
If you've heard of him, he's great fun. So
I've seen a picture of him actually.
Yeah, I've met him a few times because it's a funny story how I got to know him. Because he's gone missing a couple of times, and of course Dad put appeals out because he run off or disappeared. And I had a musician friend who was living in America at the time. He's a big animal lover, a singer called Rumer, who I've known for about 15 or more years. And when she was living in America, because she's a huge animal lover, she just reposted this. Oh, anybody in the UK, look out for this dog. He's missing. La la la. And I looked him up. I thought, he lives in Cheltenham, and then I started following him. Anyway, he was found, and he's all fine. And he only lives a mile or two up the road from me. So we often meet and bump into him in town. He goes to all the establishments in town that are dog friendly. He's got his favourite whiskey bar and French restaurant, a couple of French restaurants, and he sort of kind of just as a freebie, just sort of kind of promotes them. And he's promoting the breed. Actually, the backstory. He's been on TV as well, on local TV, Central News and Midlands Today, promoting the breed, just because people are going, oh, you've got 70,000 Twitter followers. So that's how I sort of got to know him. But it's one of those sort of little connections.
Yeah, it's just, so obviously when a celebrity like that goes missing, it's a little bit like Agatha Christie going missing, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, well, an amazing number of people sort of responded and went out and helped search. And on the 2 times that he was missing, they both got him back within a few hours. But a bit scary though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was brilliant, Jeff.
Okay,
much.
Pleasure, Vic. Okay,
and thanks to Gatsby. That was wonderful. Obviously,
He's enjoyed every minute, as you can see.
By how important my podcast is, but
yes, send me a link to your podcast too, so that I know.
Yes, I will. Once we do that, I'm having fun and games at the moment with my laptop. It stopped working.
Yeah,
and then suddenly started working again. I thought, oh, brilliant!
Ah,
To edit the previous podcast I've just recorded, and now it's stopped working again. I have no idea what's going on. So,
okay. All in good time. Yeah, I've got an old creaking one, which is why I prefer to zoom sort of on the phone, really, and you can move about as well. So I've got an old creaking one that I'm just keeping alive for as long as possible.
It's not that old.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see. All right, that's brilliant. So thanks so much. Don't disappear.
All right.
Goodbye now, and then
okay.
Say a proper goodbye after turn the recording off. All right, awesome. Jeff, thanks so much.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Bye.